Hi, everyone. My name is Nick. I am a writer and content creator here at UniLayer. We are reviewing our year and updating our community as well as the greater blockchain community about UniLayer's developments, our plans, and what we've been up to this year and what is to come. So to those of you who are not familiar with UniLayer, we are a layer 1 interoperable platform, and we are approaching interoperability from the ground up by integrating blockchains on-chain. Though I'm sure a lot of you watching know us from our socials, Twitter, Discord, our website, etc. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Alex, who is the CEO of UniLayer and one of the head developers, and Nikki, who is also one of UniLayer's head developers. So Alex, maybe you could introduce yourself a little more and talk about what's been on your minds.
Oh yeah, it's quite complicated to explain everything that I'm doing so far, you know. My friend, she's like genius PM, and she always saying like, you as a founder like Shiva with multi-handed Shiva, and you can do everything in your project. Focus on what exactly you should do, because probably it's not everything. So at that point, at some point, easier to say that what I actually not doing in the project, but basically I'm talking heads, evangelists who explain the concept, the mission of the project, and one of creators of unique technology behind UniLayer. And also in the same moment, um, I'm doing some code behind it, conversation, business development, and stuff. So you can think about me like Mr. UniLayer.
Yeah, I know that you've been to a few conferences this year, in addition to your technical load.
Yeah. And in Turkey, it was really funny because too few of locals will actually be able to speak English, but I decided, so come on, let's start. Let's try to educate the local community with the blockchain and global language because it's something that should be done because Turkey community development very fast and somehow it still is isolated. And we should create some level of culture there in order for them to be able to work with the global world. Otherwise, they will be experienced facing problems of developments in parallel and some obstacles that were already solved by the global community. So, with this concept in mind, I went to the conference there and made my speech about future of interoperability, where I explained key concepts behind the interoperability itself, how it was, what is it now, and what to expect in that area.
Great. Yeah. And also, I'd like to bring Nikki into the conversation. So how are you, Nikki? And how has your year with UniLayer been?
Great. Glad to be here. And I'm the lead analyst in UniLayer, and also I'm working with the dev team very close. And so the year was full of different issues. We've solved so many problems that was very nice. That was very interesting for me and for the team, of course. So and we're moving to new heights. So that would be nice. Yeah, glad to be here. Hello, everyone.
Great. Thanks, Nikki. So maybe we could begin our discussion of UniLayer's year with the technical side, since we have two very technical people here from the UniLayer team. I would say that probably the most obvious milestone that UniLayer reached this year was the launch of the public testnet. Maybe Alex, you could elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Actually, I wanted to say a bit more about that year in general, So you will better understand what something behind the scenes. Because yeah, it was pretty tough year, truth be told. So many things happened, pretty unexpected, and totally ruined amounts of projects. And we are honored that we survived because yeah, we are fundamental technology infrastructure. It's not that concerning for us what happens with FTX and etc. But the year was like tremendous blow for the whole ecosystem. And at that point, I started um, to recognize some similarities to 2017 at some point. Like that year was a nightmare for crypto. Ethereum lost nearly 90% of its price, and many people started to doubt about future of blockchain itself. But at some point, the market figured it out, and the crypto got restored. But the lesson is quite significant. Many people wipe it out completely from the crypto. Many projects that were very popular banana tokens completely stopped its development, and because it was pointless. They didn't bring any value in crypto at all. And precisely because of that reason, everything got collapsed in 2017. And we were really close to that scenario at some point this year. Luckily, we survived. The crypto survived. We didn't go into death spiral. That was for sure the case for some happenings like Terra Luna crash, right? There was the death spiral around it, but it wasn't affected. The whole crypto wasn't affected by it. It is just the very huge blow. So the year was challenging, really challenging, and big, it is a very interesting feeling that we still were able to continue our development no matter what obstacles we're facing, still continue. And yeah, the first things first, it's not just launching of testnet. To beginning, we made our project public because before the January of that year, UniLayer wasn't public at all. We developed it uncovered, like a group of nerds and geeks who just tried to do something with C++ code, tried to figure out what to do with PIVX code, because yeah, some of us were those guys who launched nodes in 2017, right? So we know think too about PIVX itself. And we tried to figure out how to do it better. We know the mathematics behind it, some logic, architecture, and driven by pure passion and some our own income in order to find provide some financial support. So the most important thing that happened in that year is UniLayer now public company. So you can see our progress, you can see our materials, and you can install our wallet. That the first thing that should be mentioned, I guess, as a result of that year. And the second thing, yeah, very important as well. We'll launch it, our testnet, without any marketing, without any promotion about that fact that we launched our testnet. We received more than 5,000 of applications in the first month. This is tremendous number and quite surprising as well because normally chains using like uh, spreading of tokens, airdrops, that kind of things, different types of engagement in order to reach that numbers. But we didn't, and still we get it. This is very uh, inspiring to say. Thank you very much for your support. And also, what should be mentioned here as well, that yeah, we it will be a bit later on that discussion, right? But there is exciting highlight, right? That we have in mind ideas and strategies how to increase the level of engagement for those who supporting us right now, for those who already started their notes and trying to do it correct and well. So yeah, we keep that in mind, and I wonder what number of applications we will receive at that time.
Yeah, it does seem to be an ever growing number. And it's great to see the sort of proof of concept of the testnet come to life.
Yeah, that's very correct wording. It is proof of concept. Truth be told, there were two steps of launching testnet. because it was private testnet. It's still presented for our internal development, and there is public testnet, so everyone can join it. At some point, it was very confusing to explain why we not binding our wallets to exact nodes in order to connect it automatically, so people will be able just to launch the wallet, for instance, and to see our network connected. It is because it is centralization in essence. Wallet can be connected to any UniLayer network. It is just only we providing UniLayer network. It is a bit confusing concept, but it is just like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it can be a little bit confusing to the average kind of retail investor or person in crypto when they're first finding out about UniLayer, what it is that differentiates UniLayer from other interoperable solutions, because that's interoperability is sort of the big theme that a lot of projects are working on and incorporating into their design these days.
There are a lot of different interoperability projects, and it's quite a huge topic. What exactly interoperability is? And like in a Buddhism, there is a saying: in order to understand something, comprehend, you should return to beginning. And the beginning of interoperability is transferring messages from chain to chain, as simple as it could be. We're not talking here about liquidity. We're not talking here about oracles and stuff. The task is simple: to transfer information from chain to chain. And here, at that point, we can realize that we can do it better. And for instance, I came, and as many of our team came from banking backgrounds, and in bank, we know that there are different services like ATM, cashier, anti-fraud monitor, statistic, and different stuff. And if you will connect everything all together, it will be nightmare to support it. Like slight change will affect everything. And in order to solve it, you can invent core in a center and connect everything to it. And this way you can decrease very interesting parameter, which is total cost of ownership. We're not living in a static world. That means that every even having a program as an asset costs money in order to maintain its workability. And this is why we came into the stage as a UniLayer. We can solve in a proper way that core problem of interoperability, the point of connection of everything. But we want to be involved. We don't want to be involved into tokenomics, LP providers, and different economical stuff. We want to provide infrastructure, or want to be, for the project to be able to be a trustless cross-chain projects. That is our passion driver. And yeah, I was a bit worried about this because it's very exciting. But to cut it in short, the most important thing, we launched mainnet. Oh, pardon, testnet. I dreamed about mainnet, right? We launched testnet, and we performed few iterations with that. We will highlight a bit more detailed later, but we added supports of hex addresses. We performed tremendous update of the code itself, and etc. etc. etc.
Great, yeah, and you're talking about returning to the original ethos and technology of Bitcoin, and I think it is good to keep in mind, at least in my view, when thinking about UniLayer, that UniLayer is really a project that has a big vision, and a very specific vision that's addressing the environment that we're in, because you were just talking about, for example, the FTX collapse and the Terra Luna collapse, and these protocols or platforms, whether they're Web 2 or some kind of Web 3, have centralized elements. And a lot of them, well, in the case of bridges, are existing because of the separate nature of blockchains by definition. So I think with UniLayer, we are kind of looking forward to a vision of a complete blockchain ecosystem that remains on the blockchain.
Oh, yeah, that's quite a question actually. Taxes or DEXs? Like the question that bothering right now, I guess everyone in crypto and everyone looking for some salvation. But the thing is, they are completely different. Essentially, they are different. And more than that, the infrastructure of current crypto not supporting correct DEXs because we missed few critical things. And I believe UniLayer is one of that things. So yeah, we realized the problem about centralization of different crucial things for the crypto years ago, because we have IT security background and now think too about security in essence. And because of this, we realized that yeah, there is a problem and very huge one. It's completely different ideology, very uncontrollable area, and money controlling is very strict thing, and it's not possible to allow for somebody just to do whatever he wants to do with that money. It should be transparent and community controllable. So the only one thing that we can do here is to provide infrastructure for those upcoming future projects that will use to the max UniLayer opportunities, etc. To solve that finally. Because what UniLayer do, UniLayer can be a replacement for backend for cross-chain projects. Right now they are forced, they're driving to be Web 2. It is just inefficient for them to have something completely trustless. It is cost too much and the speed of execution is a bit too low. So it's completely pointless and we'll lose badly for any centralization project right now. But in terms of security and transparency, it is the must. So this is what UniLayer can offer in that situation. We can provide infrastructure that can be used for the future builders in order to build trustless cross-chain DEXs, for instance. So this step by step will solve the current crisis.
Great, great. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think we can also maybe look forward to a blockchain world where it won't be that big a deal to be building on one chain or another. In other words, you can build on one chain but still have access to other blockchains, or you can pool liquidity across multiple blockchains.
um, the essential here, right? You can have smart contract in UniLayer that can operate with the smart contracts within different chains and get the data, impart the data. It sounds a bit too technical, but the key behind it, just like I explained about the core in the center when I talked about banking infrastructure. Without that core, it's not possible to create really complicated systems. Just realize the simple fact: the whole interoperability world right now in crypto hardly limited. It's not possible to be completely trustless right now. And this is a huge problem because complexity is the key in order to reach the solution for the current crisis of centralization. Because the most complicated, composited from many entities, projects, they are forced to have backend and they became untransparent. And because of that, they became evil in some way. It's not for certain, but it's hard to not quote Jedi, right?
For sure. So now that we've kind of explored and talked a little bit about the overall vision and design of UniLayer, maybe we can go a little deeper into the tech side of what we've been up to this past year.
Tech side of the moon.
The tech
Yeah,
side of the moon.
sure. Let's go with the most exciting part of our presentation into the numbers, even beyond the numbers. This is quite fascinating. When we calculated that numbers, we were surprised ourselves as well. It's a bit incorrect. It's not just deletions. It is change, like we added or removed something, and that amount. This is summary of amounts of work, hours of work of the whole team through the year. This is our numbers in terms of Git updates. Just realize it, or almost 800,000 lines got changed through that year. 800,000. 3,000 files got changed because of that process. And it's not the simple update, right? Because we're talking here about the core of the code of the node of blockchain, the most complicated thing in crypto. Because when we're talking about smart contracts, it is still much easier than updation of C++ code in a core. Just look at the active projects right now in crypto space and at the updates of their nodes through the year, like Ethereum node, the merge, right? And you'll see that probably we did a bit more than them, which
Wow.
is quite fascinating. Um, The next interesting thing about testnet, it is very challenging to calculate exact number of nodes because there were different versions of testnet. There were active or inactive applications, but roundly we have more than 5,000 application for testnet, and we didn't update that number after one month yet. So right now it should be even more than that, and more than 100 active nodes on testnet. Uh, they are constantly changing. Some of them just made few transactions, some of them not. And the process of working on a testnet right now is still a bit unclarified because the process of uploading smart contracts is very complicated and challenging and etc. We will improve it, but still we have that amount of activity right now in testnet. Even keep in mind that we updated the whole testnet a few times, and still we have that numbers. That's just awesome. Thank you very much for your support. Um, I guess we came here to more analytical things about our numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can explain it as well. So the universal smart contracts, what is it in essence? It is just like we said, logics. We made few topics about it. The way how to operate with different smart contracts. And the first and very important thing in order to provide it is to support hex numbers. As you can remember, we are fork from Bitcoin family. So basically we have base is 58 addresses. You can remember that kind of addresses from Bitcoin, mix of numbers and letters, right? So this is our base address in UniLayer. And it's in the same moment right now, we're supporting hex addresses, which is significant in order to work with EVM-based chains. So this is like half step in order to make universal smart contracts works. And you can add here a very important thing. We added EVM into UniLayer through that year. We made our smart contracts working, which is significant because you can see there are a lot of projects that claim it, that they will be as a fork of Bitcoin, maintain their own EVM on Bitcoin, and they spent like years in order to do this, but we already have it. You can run smart contract in UniLayer right now. It is Bitcoin-based code with EVM support right now, and this is on the beginning because the final destination here is universal smart contract. Added testnet has been started. Yeah, there are there are a lot of conversation about what testnet is. The most exciting explanation about testnet is it is exact copy of mainnet with few difference, truth be told. First, um, it is a bit more faster in terms of rewarding and closing of transactions in order to test the concept, right? And the second is Faucet, the place where you can get free UniLayer tokens. So with these two difference, uh, if you divide them from the current testnet, you'll see the mainnet, upcoming mainnet, which is beauty. I guess it will be really nice to pass the word at the moment to Nikki, if you're ready.
Yeah, sure. Uh, a couple of words about project in common. We've started a sprint approach to our uh, company. So there were 26 two-week sprints passed, and we have completed 80 tasks. These are just numbers, but actually, they were quite huge tasks. They were improving of the nodes and so on. So they're also we're trying to have all the tasks as development and our marketing strategy and so on. So that's just the main thing about that is the sprints. We're uh, planning our activities for the sprint, and we're trying to pinpoint all the success in it. And of course, we have some problems and issues, and to solve them in the next sprint. Yeah. So yeah, that's about the sprints.
So, Nikki, what were some examples of sprints that you felt were really valuable in particular, or presented certain challenges?
Challenges, of course, when we talk about challenges, the main challenge was the testnet. The first start of the testnet, we had it internal at first to test things, and we had, um, as you know, UniLayer is not just a blockchain built based on some other fork of different blockchains. So we started it from the scratch. So it was the first block generation, and well, as Alex used the metaphor, that's the problem of the chicken and the egg, because we need uh, some transactions to create blocks, and to make transaction we need money, and also we need validators, and to do that we need money also. So we need to solve that problem some kind, and that's not the usual stuff. So that was our kind of tricky problem. So we've emulated the progress on our nodes, so they would interact with each other and have the information inside the blockchain. And there we met some kind of connected problem, not very usual also. This is, we had a situation when uh, we had the network and we had the nodes, but they have some kind of issues of interacting with each other. And the issue was quite unexpected, that it happened that those nodes had the information uh, about, but it was different. That's kind of Byzantine fault attack, uh, when the information is kind of true but different. So that was quite unexpected, and we need to solve it also. So that was quite a hard and interesting, for sure, situation in the build up of the testnet. So these were one of the issues we've accomplished during our private testnet. So I think that was the most exciting, of course, very how do I say, thrilling
Yeah.
sprint. But we succeeded. We've started it, and as far as you know, we have a public testnet right now.
Nick here is not being completely honest because at some point when we had like yeah we really emulated different nodes and started them in the same moment and thought that they will be connected and the network will be started, and the problem was quite fascinating because even if they had exactly the same set of data, it still were not exactly similar because it wasn't signed all each other all together. And because of this, each starting node of the network thought that others are not correct. And at the result, when you connect it to the network, you can see all of that nodes. You can see that it's working without problems. It is just nothing happens. And that at that point, you just start in fortune telling and trying to predict what exactly went wrong. Yeah, it was challenging.
Um,
Uh,
so Alex already mentioned about this part, and we're keeping updates on our Telegram and on our Discord. We've added support for the OS 6, for the Ubuntu versions, for the Fedora, and for the Windows. So we are keeping working on it because we have new versions of us and trying to get all the desired versions. We have the form, as far as you know, there is a testnet form, the application. If you wanted to join our testnet, fill in it, and we'll send the binaries to you and the installation files. So we've worked to support all these systems. And yeah, Alex already mentioned about hex addresses and base 58 addresses. So they were added in some point.
it was really challenging task. Truth be told, from more heavy technical side, I can say that the most complicated part is how to fill that transaction data into the local database. Because here, when you encrypting and decrypting the information, everything will be slightly altered in order to support that. And this is quite a mathematic actually, but we made it.
Um, so we have already mentioned about MetaMask support. It is already added at the new version. It is there. We're keep on testing it and improving some of the issues. We need to fulfill it, but it's already in the update. So soon we'll announce news about the MetaMask. Keep in
Yay.
touch with us. Yeah. So the blockchain scanner, actually, we had the version of the scanner. It's almost ready. We keep on improving it because we had also uh, some stuff to do, and improve of the next version needed to apply some changes in it. So it will be soon enough.
Do
Keep
not
in
be so
touch.
modest on that. Actually, it is just completely without design at all. It is just schematic data.
Well, the data is up,
Yeah.
so
It is true. It is just the matter of design. It can be recolored and placed more in a more fancy way, but the data itself will be the same and presented in pretty much the same way.
and the last point here is the architectural model of UVM-based networks and the Bitcoin network integration. So it's a kind of a tricky situation here. The UVM-based networks are also kind of applied in this update. It needs to be clarified. So we have the basics in current version. And about the Bitcoin network, we are based from it. So there are a lot of essential points that we need to fulfill. Uh,
Well, I want to add here a very interesting thing about we thought many months how exactly to create a signature for Bitcoin. It is like step-based private key generated in nodes collaboration. The the most common solution to that but in the same moment very complicated to implement correctly without being exposed to attacker and etc. And how to punish those who bring malicious intentions and trying to disrupt the whole process. So yeah, we really uh, excited and thrilled about that fact that we finalized pretty much the model how we will create and sign transaction in Bitcoin. It will be one of the nearest updates in next year, the integration with Bitcoin. And I actually cannot enclose that information yet, but I can highlight few keywords on that update and thrilled announce that will be made in the future. And it is support of native Bitcoin. Cannot explain further, but yeah, keep in touch and follow the news.
That's a very enticing detail. I think
Yeah,
incorporation of Bitcoin is a big deal.
it is, and too few ways to do it correctly. Truth be told, mathematics is very challenging. Oh, there is one genius in a crypto space who actually created very curious solution, but for some reason he didn't enclose the code yet. So we have our concerns about workability of that code, but we're still waiting for it because yeah, algorithmically it's very challenging task. You can continue, Nick, about the
Uh,
website, so I can do it.
yeah, that's just a big announce. We have updated our site. You can see it at the unilayer.io. We've worked hard and improved it very significantly. It will be updated more. We'll try to provide all the information about anyone would like. So it will be updates about different documentation and so on. And of course, there will be connection with a Gitbook, but a bit later. So the improvement of the site is on progress, but please visit us. We
Uh,
have already worked hard.
I want to add here a funny story. It is just everyone in company trying to do their best, but it was a really challenging task how to connect visions of technical side and marketing side because technicals they created a text that is completely correct, explaining everything precisely in a way it works. But from marketing side, we received feedback that guys, it shouldn't do it. We shouldn't publish it at any cost because it's just not selling, not energetic. It is very boring, incredibly, utterly boring stuff that no one will read at all. How to solve it? We should rewrite it completely. And at some point, we received that rewriting, and then we received a huge blow from technical side. They said it is overpromising. We're not doing this, and what does it mean? It doesn't have any sense at all. Or I mean, in a technical sense, how to implement that wording, right? And truth be told, the most challenging part, yeah, like we developed that website for 6 months in parallel. It was at some points even more challenging than development of UniLayer itself, which is hilarious. But yeah, the project is quite huge, and the most stressing for me point was how to connect visions of technical side and marketing side to make it correct and explaining exactly what we're doing in a more nicer and fancier way that can be comprehended by anyone. So yeah, for me personally, this is quite a huge win of that year. It is success.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that, Alex. Yes, I think that as someone who writes blog articles, that communicating, knowing how to communicate, and being true to your source while still putting it in words and language and terms that the reader will understand is a challenge, but it's worthwhile because we want to um,
It is.
widen our community as much as possible, but also be true to what UniLayer really is.
Yeah, it's actually I've seen amounts of projects who got crashed because of over-promising, because it's too easy in early stage to make over-promising. And in case of UniLayer, what saves us, because we have very simple task, simple and straight. It is like a Chinese Dao, right? It is straight and direct. You should follow it. That's it. That's helping. Can you continue, Nick, on
Yeah, sure.
yeah?
That's also about what I've already mentioned about the Git book. It's improving. We're collecting the information we have already, and we're trying to get it done. Soon, I hope you will see it on the website, and you can read it. Also, we are working on our white paper. It's already done mostly. We need to review and to clarify some points, and soon you'll see it too. So for now, we have light paper, but just wait. We'll have white paper soon enough.
Yeah, that's huge document and scientific on the top of it. It takes like months and months of technical writers in order just to create a skeleton of the document, just you to realize amount of work behind it. And it is few concepts, like crucial concepts of the projects. We had them in mind years ago when we started. It is just we never tried to formulate them correctly and properly in some scientific valued document. And I know one really interesting person, like he's geeking out, who created his project and white paper for this. He's selling on Amazon. And after all our effort we spent on our white paper, I figured out why he did that. Because yeah, it is valuable document. It's not an easy to produce. So let me summarize that technical part, because yeah, we ran a bit out of time. Like 3,000 of files has been changed, nearly 8,000 100,000 lines of code has been updated, and testnet is alive, hundreds of nodes, thousands of applications, smart contracts. We keep going alive. 26 2-week sprints. Sprint for me as a developer, in essence, it's quite significant and a huge deal. And 80 tasks. I mean, it's not just like fix that line in a text. It is complete task that, in essence, add a new functionality, right? So this is quite a big deal. We made a huge progress supporting literally every platform. We will expand it even further because, yeah, for me personally, debugging on Xcode in macOS, it's pure pleasure. It's much more satisfying than anything else in C++ development I've seen so far. So yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy this as well when you'll have a chance and when the UniLayer went to public. And Git will be publicated. Let's move in further. We did our part.
Great. So I'm sure everyone appreciates, the heavy technical side to UniLayer, and I'm sure by now anyone who has already been involved with UniLayer is first discovering it can appreciate the fact that UniLayer has real technical substance within it. And if you are wrapped up with the technical side, I would like to just update our audience on some other aspects of UniLayer as a whole. Since every project needs funding, partnerships, social media presence, and outreach in person and online to really succeed and realize its potential, I would say.
Yeah, partnership is the thing. We had hundreds of different conversations and about potential partnerships right now. Many of them postponed till the moment when it will be possible to build uh, MVP project on UniLayer, right? But yeah, we still made few very important and exciting partnership announcements. I personally very excited about our partnership with Ava, because before that moment, many people tried to compare us, and after that moment, people came into our chat and started to ask questions like, "How for you it is possible to be a partner to Ava? You should be like opposite sides. You should be controversials. Is it possible for you be beneficial for Ava and an opposite side?" And yeah, for sure, because we're doing exactly different things. And this is very important. So yeah, I'm very thrilled about that partnership.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's great to be partnering with platforms that are in the interoperability space already or are trying to get into it.
Yeah.
I would like to share a couple of things with our audience here. First of all, of course, we need to be communicating with our community and growing our community. And that comes from social media in a large part. So as you can see, our Twitter growth and engagement has been steadily rising. And I think it's really worth following the Twitter for anyone who's interested in UniLayer, because we update it quite frequently and with some really interesting developments. And I think it will only keep building steam as our project continues to develop. And in the media, we've had articles in Cointelegraph, Forbes, Crypto News Z. So it's a great way to share our vision and what we're doing with a wider audience. And I think that's a lot of what brings new community members in, new investors in, new partners, people who are finding us in different media. And then beyond this, this is something, Alex, you were just touching upon in terms of partnerships. So Smart State is sort of near and dear to our hearts since they are a blockchain security company. And I think you would all agree that security is, it's intrinsic to the blockchain, and therefore it's intrinsic to UniLayer's vision and UniLayer's design. And then we have Gains Associates and New Tribe Capital. These are both venture capital firms, though in different forms. New Tribe is more of a traditional venture capital firm, at least within the crypto space. They've funded some really, really great projects, including Avalanche, including Quant, MakerDAO, a couple of others, so we're really honored to be included in this list of companies that both New Tribe and Gains Associates are bullish on and believe in our vision and our process. Gains Associates, I should just mention, is a VC DAO, which is great because it is a great way for us to expand our community of investors and community of those who can, bring more people on board to UniLayer in different forms.
I want to add one very significant point about Gains Association. There were a lot of DAO VCs, right? And too few of them actually managed to survive till that moment. Gains, one of the largest DAO VCs, and I believe you've seen a lot of MA sessions posted across the internet about different crypto projects. Just keep in mind that best of them normally performed by Gains Associations. So yeah, this is high quality VC, and even with low amounts of liquidity in scales of top tier and chat phones, right? they are quite significant position holding in the whole market, quite unique on the top of that.
Yeah, I know they've been very successful, and I've looked at the list of projects they've been involved with, and they're either very, very lucky or they're very skilled at picking projects that are really substantive and successful. And then beyond that, we have the two platforms, protocols that Alex referenced, Naris, which is in AI and cybersecurity, and EYWA, which is, as Alex mentioned, a cross-chain protocol. And they've got a very long list of products, which is very interesting. DEX, Bridge, liquidity, cross-chain liquidity. So we're very excited to be partnering with them, and it's going to be great to see how that evolves.
It is just starting. It is just beginning. Like a few of them announced it right now, so we can show them. But I can say that it is not a joke. We have more than 100 different conversations in parallel regarding to partnership, and it's very challenging to maintain and even to remember all of them because conversation is quite heated, and it is just early birds. You'll see much more in the next year, and especially at the moment when it will be possible to make a cross-chain MVP based on UniLayer. And just imagine connection of Bitcoin and Bitcoin network and classical EVM chain, which is possible via UniLayer. Oh gosh, I guess we will see very interesting and very thrilling announces.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, I would say that by nature, UniLayer is a very social blockchain, you could say, because we are joining separate blockchains. So naturally, we're going to be building and uniting huge communities because any DApp that's interested in truly decentralized interoperability is a potential client or is a potential DApp to just onboard onto UniLayer. So beyond partnerships, we have attended and participated a number of events this past year, and that would include Token 2049, East Asia, SmartCon, which was hosted by Chainlink in New York City, and a number of other events, which is a great way to really make face-to-face connections with leaders in the space and some really, really great projects. Maybe, Alex, you could share a little bit about your experiences.
We co-hosted events with Huobi, like side event for Token 2049. You can see it on a corner after party, UniLayer and Huobi. And that was a quite nice event, and amount of people came in. We had a chance to talk with people from Seoul, from Korea, and they're also very active right now in terms of crypto. So we are right now in contact. And UniLayer, as a network, as a project, has a contacts with the largest CEXes and DEXes at the moment. So the launch, we will talk about launch a bit later. But we in a process of preparation for that on a full speed.
Great. And then I don't have a slide for it, but I would just like to mention and revisit the topic of fundraising. So we've successfully completed our angel and seed rounds, raising close to $1 million. And we have already touched upon some of our VC partners, but we would just like to say that it's really great to be getting such support in the current market conditions we're going through, and I think it goes to show that there is such great demand for the vision that we're outlining, and our process and design for getting there.
Oh yeah, I want to add here that yeah, there is no slide for it, but there is a roadmap for it. Just
Yes.
like I mentioned, we started our website with amounts of information, so please pay attention to that. And here in our roadmap, you can filter everything instead of, for instance, funding rounds. And you can see that we made our process. Truth be told, Century rounds was closed like in 1 month. We received all required support. And then we faced situations like we mentioned previously, Terra Luna crash, FTX crash, and different global events like perfect storm in a world of investments, right? Even in classic funding, there are problems, massive problems right now. Everything slowed down, but still we managed to close seed rounds, which were quite a challenge. No one like year ago it will be like in instance will be closed, but at that current situation it is much more challenging, and still we managed to do it. Luckily we managed to not share huge pools of tokens to single hands. They are widespread across different holders, and for on one hand, we still do not have leader investor. On another hand, our investors quite decentralized. All of them are trustworthy, which is quite important for us as a project. So there are always pluses and minuses. And year ago, before that perfect storm, there is a high probability that we will receive some huge fund as a lead investor, and that lead investor will hold the fate of the UniLayer in his hands, and it will be quite challenging to resolve. But here in that situation, we were forced to find a much more correct way for that kind of projects. So yeah, in a seed round, in an angel round, we managed to maintain our position, which is great. And right now we have a ground to have conversation for strategic rounds. Right now it's in the process. Uh, like oh, it is a bit postponed and rescheduled. We will update the information in the roadmap because for strategic rounds, we're not in a rush of the money anymore, but we have to find a solid partner. Solid partner will help tremendously for the project. So this is one of the goals for the first part of next year for us. And then there will be a very huge events like foundation launch, because yeah, UniLayer is an ecosystem, and ecosystem requires some foundation and proper management. We already have persons in our mind who can maintain it and have conversations and negotiations with them in terms regarding the exact details of our agreements. So keep in mind, we in the process next year will be much bigger than that.
Yeah, I have no doubts about that. Because not only because of the market conditions, but that plays a role in it, but also because of just our continued development, from which has been, you know, snowballing this past year.
Yeah. That year we just building the foundation for everything, like basements, right? Next year we'll be building the house, and the house is most exciting part for everyone, because how to explain for normal common people why it's so important to build proper basement? It's not possible, because everyone want to touch it, to feel it, to see it by himself without having trust to anyone, right? So this is precisely what will happen in next year.
Great, and that might be a great segue to what you see in this coming year. And Nikki, also, if you'd like to talk a little bit about what Unilayer's plans are for the coming year, and what we can expect.
Just a couple of words. As we already said about different ideas, we need to fulfill them in the future as soon as possible. As you know, we're keep on working on it. So, and as for the global, I think we're aiming to the launching mainnet. It's our main priority and our main focus. So we'll try to do our best to launch it and to provide as the information and the technical for that. So
Yeah. So yeah, let me count it. Like first, a white paper published. Second, EVM-based chain. I guess it will be Go early testnet of Ethereum integrated. Bitcoin testnet integrated. Mainnet launched, which means token launched. These things will happen in next year, like crucial things. And then we will update on the mainnet each 2 months, even more often if the situation will require it. Because you see, mainnet of level 1 is no joke. It's not possible to launch it immediately like this. It is amount of negotiations with validators, node owners, and etc. It is the process normally will take about 6 months, but we will do it much faster because we will do it step by step. And this way we will be able to see mainnet much earlier. And then it will slowly become UniLayer to in its best shape.
Yeah, I have no doubt that things will get pretty exciting with the mainnet launch, and I'm sure it will bring a whole new set of eyes on UniLayer. Maybe you could, Alex, touch upon a little bit of the tokenomics and the token's role in the UniLayer network and ecosystem.
At the moment, I can share only some general concepts. But yeah, there is a huge document within UniLayer right now, still in the process of updating and verifying concepts, which is about tokenomics. And we know already a few things. First, the transaction cost within the UniLayer will cost as low as possible, because this is, truth be told, not the source of income, right? The second thing, the source of income, the main primary source of income is validation of cross-chain transaction. So this is what will be profitable, and still it will be much cheaper than anything you know so far in the crypto space. Because of uniqueness technology, we perform much less calculations and in a much more efficient way. And this is the reason why we can make the price better and the speed of execution better as well. In the same moment, the complexity of technology in terms of implementation is much higher. This is what should be paid off. So, uh, in essence, our tokenomic is just like that. Node validators receiving the main income, and in the same moment, UniLayer has a gasless model for cross-chain transactions, which means that transaction in a target chain will be paid off by the cost of that transaction in UniLayer tokens. They will be automatically converted, which means that there will be DEXs, local DEXs, uh, with the pairs of UniLayer tokens and local gas tokens that will be automatically executed in order to provide pool for to pay that transaction by its value. So this is very interesting and very important thing about tokenomics. And also we have very interesting and complicated, complex and gamified strategies for airdrops. There are planning like not exactly airdrops. It will be more like questionnaire gamified process of step-by-step involvement into the publication event. So we have in the same moment go-to-market strategy, first one, right? The amount of different things that should be done in that process. Cooperation with launchpads, cooperation with DEXs. And the first point, we do not have a plan to go to Texas because we at first need to be supported by DEXs, and then at some point we will be listed in Texas as well. But this is not the point for UniLayer. And the second one is uh, to perform correct rewarding model for validators and to make it reasonable for businesses, cross-chain businesses, to host their projects inside of UniLayer. And then we will work on the reversed movement of equity, liquidity, which means that you can pay transactions for transaction not in UniLayer but in something else, and still it will work. So in this matter, we have very, very complicated systems that will be implemented. Uh, Complicated in terms of ideology, but practically they're quite easy. There will be DAO as well inside of UniLayer that will manage development of mainnet and help it to be stabilized and grow steadily. And this is like general concepts about UniLayer tokenomics. Follow the details, follow us, and you'll see more detailed updates, more schematic updates to say.
Great, thank you, Alex. I think everyone really appreciates all of these explanations you've outlined, and I know the word token, I'm sure, brings new eyes onto any project and perks ears up. So
That's
yeah,
true. Token is a key thing, right? But in our case, we felt very much relieved about our token because this is gas token for infrastructure that current market demand for it were high. So it's not a problem for us. Like we definitely will do some managing of token, some strategies around it. But the thing is, we aiming not to make super profit in first month, right? We aiming to be here with you for years, like to be presented after 5 years of crypto development and 10 years. We're here for a quite a long time because we want to provide a value for the whole crypto market. We have our own idea what can be and how we can help for the market to grow.
yeah. I think that vision has run through UniLayer from the beginning. Of that, the priority is to realize this reality of an integrated blockchain, or at least offering the potential to integrate any blockchain network, and
Yeah.
the rest will follow. And I'm sure it's going to be very interesting to see how it unfolds.
That's absolutely true.
So we've gone over a lot of points today, a lot of technical aspects to UniLayer's growth and development over this past year, but of course starting far prior to that, and also our growth in terms of outreach, partnerships, fundraising. So I think we may be ending the year in review here.
Still many things to say. Yeah, it's like an endless story. But yeah, to cut the crap, we can say that first, this year UniLayer has been launched publicly. This year we close angel round, seed round. We started testnet. We updated it 2 times. First with support of smart contracts, and second with the support of MetaMask and hex addresses. The next update will be just like that: support of EVM integrated chain and support of Bitcoin. And also, a very important feature is after update of the node. We will talk about it, I guess, in one of the next sessions, but yeah, it is just like that. So we successfully launched a testnet, public testnet. We received amounts of appreciation and attention from different sides. We're in a contact with the most of top tier funds right now, and conversation with institutional funds and etc. So I guess that year was pretty much successful. And right now we can slowly breathe out and be relieved. It is time to celebrate, and happy and Merry Christmas for
I,
our
I
team.
concur with that sentiment. And yeah, I would just add to the viewers watching this, please follow our Twitter. please join our Telegram and Discord. And the developers are very active in Discord, so you will not only be able to join the community and talk to the community, but talk to the team directly, ask any questions you have, contribute any comments you have. And also our testnet is still open, so please submit your applications and we'll be happy to get you on board.
Hooray.
So,
Thanks a lot.
thank you guys for joining me. Really appreciate it. And I will see you soon. Thanks,
See you.
everyone.
Bye. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Bye.